The human man never thought sharing a small apartment on the galactic station would change his life. He had placed the notice on a public board. Cheap rent, 1 room free, kitchen shared, rules simple. He only wanted extra credits to pay his bills, nothing more. But when the doorbell rang that night, he found not another human, not even a common alien trader, but a small alien girl standing there. She was not a child, though she looked younger than most. Her body was slim, her hair silver like moonlight, her glowing eyes too large for her face. She carried only a single bag, and her voice was soft yet firm when she spoke. "I am here for the room, human," she said. "I can pay." The man hesitated, but something in her stare was too sharp, too demanding. He let her in, and the deal was done within minutes. From that night, she became his roommate. At first it felt normal. She was quiet, polite, kept to herself. But soon he realized she was watching him. She sat across the table as he ate, her glowing eyes never leaving his fork. She stood in the corner when he fixed his boots, silently observing. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, he woke to find her door open, her head tilted, just listening to his breathing. It made his skin crawl. Yet her gaze was not cruel. It was curious, almost hungry for answers. The human tried to ignore it. He told himself she was only strange because of culture. Aliens had their own ways, he thought. But then, one evening, she broke the silence. "Human," she asked, her voice slow. "Is it true? Your people breed differently?" The man almost choked on his drink. He coughed, stared at her, and asked what she meant. Her face was calm, her eyes glowing brighter. "They say humans touch, they connect, they feel before they create life," she whispered. "My people do not understand this." His heart pounded, unsure if she was mocking him or testing him. He laughed nervously, trying to wave it off, but she leaned closer, her silver hair shining under the light. "I came here for more than rent," she said softly. "I came to learn." From that moment, the air in the room changed. She followed him closer than before, copying his small habits. When he drank tea, she made her own. When he stretched before sleep, she tried to mirror his movements. It was no longer quiet living. It was a strange dance of eyes, steps, and unspoken tension. The man wondered if he should end the deal, maybe ask her to leave before things grew worse. But then, late at night, he felt her presence again. He opened his eyes to see her standing in his doorway, silent, unmoving, her glowing eyes fixed on him in the dark. And then, in the quietest whisper, she said, "Will you show me? Will you show me the human way?" The human froze. Breath caught in his throat. He had no answer, not yet, but he knew this was only the beginning. The strange roommate was not just curious. She was determined, and whatever she wanted to learn, she would not stop until she had it. The next morning, the human hoped everything was only a dream. Maybe his mind had invented the strange whisper in the night. But when he stepped into the kitchen, she was already there, sitting cross-legged on the counter, her glowing eyes locked on him. The steam from the tea rose between them, but her gaze cut through it like a blade. "Human," she said calmly, "you never answered me." He froze, holding his cup. "What question?" he asked, though he already knew. Her silver hair fell across her face as she leaned forward, voice lowering. "About breeding," she whispered. "Tell me how humans do it." The man almost dropped the cup. He coughed, his face burning red. It was not a question one asked so openly, not in any culture. Her words were direct, bold, and too sharp for comfort. "You can't just ask that," he stammered. "It's private, it's personal." But the alien girl tilted her head, confused. "Why is it forbidden?" she asked. "Breeding is natural, every species does it, yet humans hide it like a weapon locked away." Her tone carried no shame, only hunger for truth. She did not blink, her large eyes reflecting his face like mirrors. The human tried to laugh, but it came out weak. He turned away, hoping she would drop it. Instead, she slid off the counter and stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the floor. "You fear the question," she said softly, "but I do not fear the answer." He shook his head, running a hand through his hair. "You don't understand," he said. "For us, it is more than just biology. It's about closeness, about trust." But she didn't move back. Her glowing eyes grew brighter, her chest rising fast as if something inside her wanted to escape. "Then show me," she whispered. "Show me this closeness." The words struck him like a storm. He stepped back, his back hitting the wall. "This is crazy," he muttered. You don't even know what you're asking. But she only took another step, until her face was inches from his. Her voice was trembling now, but steady with desire. My people pair by command, she said. No love, no choice, only order. Her hands clenched tightly by her sides. I want to feel the human way. I want to know why your species is feared for it, why your touch is different. The human swallowed hard, his heart racing. There was no doubt now. She wasn't teasing, she wasn't joking, she was serious, desperate. For a long moment, the air between them was heavy. The hum of the galactic station outside their window filled the silence. Finally, he managed to speak. You're asking for something dangerous, he said quietly. If others hear, they will punish both of us. But she did not flinch. Instead, she leaned even closer, her silver hair brushing against his shoulder. I do not care, she breathed. I want the truth, even if it burns me. The human turned away, his chest tight. He knew he should refuse, end this madness before it went too far. Yet a strange part of him wondered, why him? Why now? What did she see in him that made her demand this forbidden lesson? Her glowing eyes lingered on him like a flame waiting to spread, and then she whispered words that left him breathless. If you will not show me, then I will find another human who will. Her voice was soft, but her threat was sharp. The human clenched his fists, torn between fear and curiosity. The forbidden question was no longer just a whisper in the night. It had become a challenge, a promise, and a dangerous beginning. Life in the small apartment no longer felt normal. Every moment with the alien girl carried a strange weight. The human tried to act like nothing had changed, but deep inside he knew everything had. The forbidden question still echoed in his head, and her glowing eyes followed him everywhere. She copied his habits with unsettling precision. When he sat on the couch with a book, she sat on the floor beside him, pretending to read a blank notebook. When he ate his food, she mirrored his bites, chewing slowly while staring at his lips. When he stretched his arms before bed, she did the same, her movements clumsy but determined. It was no longer silence, it was imitation. The human grew restless. He wanted to shout at her to stop, but her innocent expression always froze his anger. She looked like a child trying to learn, yet her voice was calm and firm. You are my example, she said one night. If I do not copy you, how will I learn? He tried locking his door, but hours later he woke to the sound of footsteps outside his room. The door handle turned, slow and careful. He held his breath, pretending to sleep. When the door cracked open, her glowing eyes peered inside, shining in the dark like two small moons. She stood there for minutes, just watching, until finally she whispered, I only wanted to see if you were still breathing. His skin prickled with unease. Who watched someone sleep just to hear them breathe? But the next morning, she behaved as if nothing strange had happened. She ate breakfast, hummed a soft alien tune, and even asked if he wanted extra sugar in his tea. Still, the tension grew thicker each day. One evening, she took his shirt from the laundry basket and wore it. It hung loose on her small body, but she smiled proudly. This is human skin covering, she said. If I wear it, maybe I will understand you better. The human nearly exploded, Dima, and ding she return it, but she only tilted her head, confused. You said closeness is human way, she whispered. Is this not closeness? The human began to avoid her gaze. He spent longer hours outside, walking the crowded corridors of the station, but no matter where he went, when he returned home, she was waiting, always seated in the same spot, always staring as if she had been frozen in time. The unease reached a breaking point one night. He was drifting into sleep when a faint sound filled the room. Breathing, too close, too steady, not his own. His eyes snapped open, and there she was, standing beside his bed. Her silver hair spilled down her shoulders, her glowing eyes unblinking. She whispered, Do humans always sleep so deeply? His heart thundered in his chest. He sat up, demanding to know what she was doing. She didn't flinch, didn't move. I wanted to keep you safe, she said softly, in case something came for you in the night. The words made no sense, yet her tone carried sincerity. He wanted to tell her to leave, to sleep in her own room, but the words stuck in his throat. There was something fragile in her voice, something that almost sounded like fear. But before he could answer, she leaned closer, her breath warm against his ear. Will you keep me safe too, human? She whispered. Her question lingered in the dark, heavier than the air itself. and though he tried to steady his heart, he knew the tension between them had only begun to grow. The tension had grown so heavy that the human felt like he was living in a cage. Every day, the alien girl seemed to push closer, testing the thin walls he had built around himself. He tried to keep his distance, but one night she broke through completely. That night would be remembered as the moment she dared him to cross the line. It began after dinner. The human washed his dishes quietly, hoping she would retreat to her own room. But instead she leaned against the counter, her glowing eyes following his every move. She waited until he put the last plate away, then spoke. "You said human breeding is about closeness," she whispered. "Then I want you to prove it." The man froze, his hand gripping the sink. "You don't know what you're asking," he said, voice sharp with warning. But she didn't back down. Her silver hair framed her face as she stepped closer, her words deliberate. "I am not afraid," she said. "I dare you to teach me." His chest tightened. It was not a playful dare, not a child's game. It was serious, spoken with fire. He turned away, shaking his head. "This isn't a joke," he muttered. "You don't understand what happens when humans get close." But her reply made his blood run cold. "Then make me understand," she whispered, placing her small hand on his arm. The touch was light, but it burned through him. He pulled away, his voice rising. "Stop this," he said. "You don't know what you're doing." Yet her glowing eyes softened, her voice breaking like a plea. "All my life I was told breeding is only duty, only command, no choice, no feelings," she said. "But I see the way humans look at each other, the way they hold each other, and I want to feel it once before I die." The words cut him deeply. This was not just curiosity, it was hunger, maybe even desperation. He stared at her, searching for lies, but found none. Her trembling hands, her steady eyes, everything about her told the truth. Then, before he could speak, she took his hand. Her fingers were cold, but she pressed them against her chest. He could feel the rapid thump of her heart beneath her thin skin. "Start here," she whispered. "This is where humans feel, right? The heart." The human tried to pull away, but she held his hand tightly. Her body shook, but she didn't let go. "You dare me," she said softly. "Now I dare you." Her voice was low, almost trembling, but her eyes burned with challenge. The room was silent except for the hum of the station outside. The human's thoughts raced. If he gave in, there was no turning back. If he refused, she might run to another human, just as she threatened before. And that thought terrified him more than anything. She stepped even closer, her face so near he could feel her breath. "I want to know why humans are different," she said. "Why your kind is feared for touch, why your closeness changes lives." Her words carried both innocence and danger. It was a dare not meant to be ignored. The human's hand still rested over her heart. Each beat thudded against his palm, fast and alive. He swallowed hard, trapped between morality and temptation. Her glowing eyes locked onto his, unblinking. And then, with a voice barely above a whisper, she sealed the moment. "Dare me back, human," she said, "or prove I was wrong about you." The challenge lingered in the air like fire waiting to consume them both. The human's next move would decide everything, whether to end the strange game or step deeper into something forbidden. Either way, the dare had been made, and there was no escaping it now. The dare hung heavy in the air. The human could feel her heartbeat against his palm, fast and trembling. Her glowing eyes stared into his, waiting for an answer. He wanted to run, to escape the strange trap she had built, yet something inside him froze. He did not pull away. Slowly, carefully, he let his hand rest on her shoulder instead. The alien girl gasped as if lightning struck her body. Her breath caught, and her glowing eyes widened. This is what humans do before breeding?" she asked, voice breaking with wonder. The human almost laughed, but it came out weak. "No," he said softly. "This is just touch, nothing more." But to her, it was everything. She lifted her small hand and placed it over his, pressing his palm harder into her skin. Her body shook, but she did not move away. "I can feel heat," she whispered. "I can feel strength. Why does it make my chest hurt?" He swallowed, unsure how to explain feelings that had no simple words. To show her more gently, he took her hand in his. Her fingers curled tight, clumsy, like a child learning for the first time. Her glowing eyes filled with shock. "This is holding," she whispered. "This is what humans do?" "Yes," he said quietly. "This is holding hands." She stared at their joined fingers for a long time. Her breathing quickened. Her cheeks flushed a strange pale glow under her skin. "Then this is how you begin breeding," she whispered, her voice filled with both fear and excitement. The human shook his head. "No, it's not breeding," he said. "It's closeness. It's comfort." But she did not understand. Her people never taught closeness, never taught affection. She believed each step, each touch, was a direct path to the mystery of human breeding. She squeezed his hand tighter, her body trembling like she was standing on the edge of fire. "Don't stop," she begged softly. "Show me more." The human hesitated. Ed, torn between morality and her desperate eyes, he slowly pulled her into a gentle hug. Her body stiffened, frozen in his arms. For a moment she did not breathe. Then suddenly, a shiver ran through her, and she clung to him with both arms. Her silver hair brushed against his face, her glowing eyes hidden against his chest. This is breeding, isn't it?" she asked again, her voice muffled in his shirt. The human closed his eyes, fighting his own heartbeat. "No," he said quietly. "This is just holding someone close." Her grip tightened, her body trembling as if she was afraid he would let go. To her, the hug was something sacred. She pulled back slightly, tears glowing at the corners of her eyes. "No one has ever held me like this," she whispered. "Not once in my life." Her voice cracked, and she pressed her forehead against his chest. "Don't take it away," she begged. "Don't stop now." The human's heart ached. He had only meant to calm her, but his touch had become something greater for her, something she believed was the secret to human breeding. He realized this was no game for her. It was survival. It was discovery. Her entire body told him she needed this, not just wanted it. The night stretched long as they stood together in silence. Her trembling slowed, her breath matched his, and when she finally pulled away, her glowing eyes shone with both fear and determination. "You must finish what you started," she whispered. "You cannot stop halfway." Her words left him frozen. She didn't see the hug as enough. She didn't see it as comfort. To her, it was only the first step toward the mystery she demanded. The first touch had changed everything. And now, she would not let him stop. The next morning, the apartment was filled with quiet tension. The human sat at the table, staring into his cup of tea, while the alien girl sat across from him, her glowing eyes fixed on him without blinking. She had not forgotten the night before. For her, the hug, the holding of hands, every small touch had been a step into forbidden knowledge. But for him, it had been a dangerous mistake. Finally, he broke the silence. "What you asked of me," he said slowly. "It isn't simple. It isn't just about breeding." Her head tilted, her silver hair falling over one eye. "Then explain," she demanded softly. "Explain the human way." He sighed, rubbing his forehead. "In your people's culture, breeding is duty, chosen by elders, controlled by law," he said. "But for humans, it is more." Her eyes narrowed with curiosity. "More?" she repeated. "What could be more than creating life?" He met her gaze firmly. "Choice," he said. "Love, trust, closeness. Things that come before life begins." She leaned forward, her glowing eyes brighter. "Why make it so complicated?" she asked. "My people do not waste time with love or trust. We are told who to pair with, and we obey." The human's voice hardened. "Because without choice, it's empty," he said. "Without trust, without feeling, it's nothing but survival. Humans don't just survive, we live." Her lips parted slightly, her hands trembling on the table. She had never heard anyone speak like this before. "You call it empty," she whispered. "But it is how my people have lived for centuries." He shook his head. "And are they happy?" he asked. "Do they smile? Do they laugh when they hold each other?" Her glowing eyes faltered, as if she had no answer. Her voice dropped lower. "No, they do not laugh. There is no reason to." The human leaned closer, his words sharp. "That's the difference," he said. "For us, closeness is not only about creating life. It's about belonging, about wanting someone, not being forced to take them." She swallowed hard, her fists clenched on the table. "You speak of feelings as if they are real," she whispered. "But what proof do you have that they are stronger than command?" The human stood, pacing across the small apartment. "Proof?" he said, his voice rising. "Look at you. You're here, asking me, daring me, because something inside you knows your way is not enough." Her glowing eyes widened, Her breath quickened. "You think me broken," she whispered. "Different from my people." He turned sharply to face her. "No," he said firmly. "I think you're brave, because you want more than duty, more than chains. You want to feel what my people feel." For a long moment she was silent, her eyes shining like glass about to crack. Then her voice shook. "Then prove it," she said. "Prove that your way is better." The challenge hit him like a blade. Her words were not a request anymore. They were a demand. She stood, stepping toward him, her hands trembling, but her gaze steady. "Show me," she said softly. "Show me why humans make it about love, about choice, about trust." The human's chest tightened. He had only wanted to protect himself, to keep the line between them clear. But now, she had turned his own words into a challenge he could not ignore. The cultural clash was no longer just an argument. It had become a trial, a test of which truth would win. Her people's cold command, or the human way of love. That night, the human tried to keep to himself. He thought silence would calm the storm that had been building between them. But silence only gave her more time to think. And when he stepped out of his room, he found the lights dimmed, the air heavy, the doors locked from inside. She was waiting in the center of the room, her silver hair shining faintly, her glowing eyes fixed on him without fear. "What are you doing?" he asked, his voice sharp. She stood straight, her hands trembling but her face firm. "This is the experiment," she whispered. "You said humans show closeness before breeding, then I will learn it all tonight." The human's chest tightened. "This isn't something you can test like numbers," he said, trying to keep calm. "It's not an experiment. It's feeling." But she shook her head. "Then let me feel," she answered. "Let me feel the human way, even if it burns me." Her words made his breath catch. He looked toward the door, but it was locked. She had sealed them inside. There was no escape from the moment. She stepped closer, slowly, carefully, as if each step carried the weight of her decision. "I need to know why your kind is different," she said, her voice trembling now. "Why humans are whispered about. Why they say your touch changes lives." The human shook his head. "You can't just force this," he said. "It's dangerous for both of us." But she stood her ground, her glowing eyes burning like fire. "If you will not teach me, I will find another human," she whispered, repeating her old threat. His fist tightened. The thought of her running into another man's arms, desperate and blind, made his stomach twist. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "If I do this," he said slowly, "we do it my way, not yours. No rushing, no forcing." Her lips parted, her chest rising quickly. "Then teach me," she said. "Teach me slowly. Teach me all, the psalm." Air grew heavy as she stepped close enough to touch. Her small hands reached up, clumsy but determined. She placed her fingers against his chest, over his heart. "I can hear it," she whispered, her eyes wide. "It beats for me." The human swallowed hard, unable to speak. He gently reached for her hand, closing his fingers around hers. Her body shivered at the simple contact, as if she had never been touched this way before. She looked up, her glowing eyes wet with something new. Tears. "Why does this hurt?" she asked softly. "Why does it feel like I might break apart?" He pulled her into a slow embrace, careful, steady. Her breath hitched, her fingers dug into his shirt. Her entire frame trembled against him. "This," he whispered, "this is what comes before anything else. It's trust, it's safety." Her voice cracked. "Then I want to feel more. I want to feel it all." The human closed his eyes. This was no longer about curiosity. It was about survival for her soul. She had lived without warmth, without freedom, without choice, and now she was demanding all the closeness she had been denied. As the night grew deeper, the small apartment became a cage of emotions. Each breath, each touch carried weight, and though the human told himself to stop, to push her away, he knew the experiment had already begun. The alien girl would not rest until she had tasted every part of what it meant to be close to a human. And that thought filled him with both fear and something else he dared not name. The room felt smaller than ever. The human stood frozen, the alien girl pressed against him, her trembling body refusing to let go. He had promised himself not to cross the line, yet every moment with her pulled him closer to it. Her glowing eyes searched his face, desperate and unyielding. "You said humans show love, trust, safety," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Then show me more. Don't stop here." The human's throat tightened. "This isn't a game," he said. "If we go further, there is no turning back." But she only leaned closer, her breath warm against his skin. "Then don't turn back," she murmured. "Take me forward." His heart raced. He tried to push her away, but her small hands clung to his shirt with a strength that surprised him. Her tears glowed faintly in the dim light, slipping down her silver cheeks. "No one has ever chosen me," she whispered. "Not once, not in my whole life." Her words shattered something inside him. Slowly, carefully, he lifted his hand and brushed away her tears. She gasped at the soft touch, her whole body shaking as though she had been struck by lightning. "Why does it feel like this?" she asked, breathless. "Why does your hand make me want to break apart and hold on tighter at the same time?" The human swallowed. "That's what love feels like," he said quietly. "It confuses, it hurts, but it also heals." Her glowing eyes widened. "Then don't stop," she pleaded. "Give me all of it." Before he could reply, she pressed her forehead against his chest, her voice trembling. "Please," she whispered. "Don't let me go. Not now. Not ever." The human wrapped his arms around her, this time not holding back. Her body melted into his, her trembling slowly turning into calm. She tilted her face upward, their eyes meeting in silence, her lips parted, soft, uncertain, but willing. "Show me," she whispered again. "Show me the human way." For a moment, he hesitated. The weight of the choice pressed down on him, but then gently, he leaned closer and pressed his lips to hers. The alien girl gasped, her body stiffening in shock. Her glowing eyes fluttered closed, her hands gripping his shirt tighter. The kiss was soft, careful, filled with everything he had wanted to hold back. When he finally pulled away, she was trembling, her face glowing with heat, her eyes filled with tears, but her lips curved into a fragile smile. That was more powerful than anything I imagined," she whispered. "Is this what humans do before they breed?" The human almost laughed, shaking his head. "No," he said softly. "This is what humans do when they care." Her expression shifted, confusion mixing with wonder. She touched her lips with her fingers, as though trying to hold on to the feeling. "No command, no order," she whispered. "Just choice. And you chose me." Her voice broke, and a sob escaped her throat. "I don't care if it is dangerous. I don't care if others punish us. I want this. I want you." The human's heart ached. He knew the world outside would never forgive them if they discovered the truth. But in that moment, none of it mattered. The line had been crossed. The forbidden wall between human and alien had shattered, and in her glowing eyes, he saw not danger, but belonging. The morning after felt heavy. The human sat at the table, his head in his hands, wondering if he had made the greatest mistake of his life. He had crossed the line, kissed her, held her, and shown her what no alien of her kind had ever known. Now, there was no way to take it back. The alien girl sat across from him, her silver hair glowing in the sunlight streaming through the window. Her eyes were brighter than ever, her face alive with a warmth he had never seen before. To her, it was not a mistake, it was a miracle. "You chose me," she whispered with a soft smile, "and now I belong to you." Her words tightened his chest. "This isn't that simple," he said, his voice rough. "If others find out what we've done, it won't end well, not for either of us." But she shook her head, unafraid. "Let them know," she whispered. "I am not ashamed. I want the universe to see that I chose a human." His blood ran cold at her words. "You can't say things like that," he warned. "If the wrong ears hear it, they'll punish us both." But she didn't care. Her glowing eyes held fire as she said, "I am not afraid of punishment. I am only afraid of losing what I found with you." The human's heart pounded. How could she not see the danger, the weight of what she was declaring? To her, this was freedom. But to others, it was rebellion, and rebellion was not forgiven. Later that day, whispers began to spread. The neighbors looked at him differently. Some alien merchants glanced with suspicion, their whispers sharp like knives. The human felt the tension in the air, but the girl stood beside him proudly, holding his hand, refusing to hide. It was only a matter of time before the knock came at the door. 3 figures stood outside, tall, armored aliens from her own species, their eyes cold, their voices harsh. "We have heard the rumors," one of them said. "Step aside, human. She belongs to us." Before he could answer, the alien girl stepped forward. "No," she said firmly, her voice steady. I chose him. I chose the human. The armored figures froze, their faces filled with shock. Her words carried power, because choice was not something her people allowed. To claim it openly was to break their most sacred law. The human's chest tightened. He wanted to pull her back, to protect her, but she lifted her chin high, her glowing eyes burning with defiance. You will not take me, she declared. I belong here, with him. The silence that followed felt endless. The armored aliens exchanged looks, their hands twitching toward their weapons. The human braced himself, knowing a fight could come at any moment. But then, to his shock, the girl stepped closer to him, holding his hand high in front of them all. Do you see? She said. This is my choice, my bond, my truth. The human's heart thundered as the words echoed through the small apartment. He didn't know if she had saved them or doomed them, but he knew one thing. The secret was no longer theirs alone. The world now knew, and whether it would become their greatest mistake or their greatest miracle remained to be seen. The alien guards did not leave quietly. They dragged the girl and the human through the crowded corridors of the station, their heavy boots striking like thunder. Whispers spread fast. Humans and aliens turned to watch, eyes wide with shock and curiosity. The forbidden rumor had become a public spectacle. They were brought into a great chamber deep inside the alien district. Cold walls of steel surrounded them, highlights shining down like judgment. At the far end sat the council of her people, elders with faces hard as stone, their glowing eyes sharp and unforgiving. The human stood tall, but his heart pounded. He had never faced an alien trial before, and he knew mercy would not be found here. The eldest elder spoke, his voice echoing. It is said you, a human, corrupted one of our daughters, he said, pointing a long finger toward the man. You broke the line between species. You defiled what is sacred. The human clenched his fists, ready to defend himself, but before he could speak, the alien girl stepped forward. No, she said firmly, her voice ringing clear. He did not corrupt me. I chose him. Gasps filled the chamber. The elders leaned forward, their eyes narrowing in disbelief. Chosen? One of them hissed. You dare speak of choice? You know our kind does not choose. We obey. Her small frame trembled, but she did not back down. I am done obeying, she said, her glowing eyes burning with fire. I wanted the truth. I wanted to feel what my people denied me, and I found it with him. The council erupted in murmurs, their voices sharp and angry. Some called her broken, others demanded punishment. The eldest elder raised a hand, silencing the chamber. Then prove it, he said coldly. Prove your bond with this human is more than madness. Prove it is real. The girl's breath caught, but she nodded. She turned to the human and reached for his hand, the momam. And their skin touched, a strange glow rippled between them. The chamber fell silent. The glow spread from her eyes into their joined hands, flowing into him like living light. The human gasped, feeling warmth flood through his chest. It was not magic, it was something deeper, something ancient. Her people stared in disbelief, whispers rising. This cannot be, one elder muttered. She formed a bond with him. The human looked at her in shock. What's happening? He whispered. Her glowing eyes softened, filled with tears. My kind can only bond once in a lifetime, she said, her voice breaking. And I bonded with you. The council erupted in chaos. Some shouted that it was impossible. Others demanded she be destroyed before the bond spread. The human stepped forward, his voice firm. You can't take her away now. She chose me, and I accept her. The eldest elder slammed his staff against the floor, silencing them all. If this bond is real, it changes everything, he said darkly. Our laws cannot break it, but it will be tested, and if it fails, both of you will be cast out forever. The human tightened his grip on her trembling hand. He looked into her glowing eyes, and for the first time saw not just desperation, but belonging. Whatever trial awaited them, they would face it together. And in that moment, he knew this was no longer just curiosity. This was destiny. The chamber was silent, all eyes fixed on the human and the alien girl, their hands still joined, the glow pulsing between them like a living thread. The elders whispered among themselves, their cold voices filled with fear and disbelief. Never before had one of their kind bonded with a human. Never before had choice broken law so openly. The eldest elder leaned forward, his eyes sharp as blades. You claim this bond is true, he said. Then prove it under trial. Prove it cannot be broken. The human's chest tightened, but he squeezed the girl's trembling hand. We will prove it, he said firmly. Together. The trial was simple in words, yet heavy in weight. If the bond was false, the glow would fade, the connection would shatter. If it was real, it would grow stronger beyond their control. The elders formed a circle, their voices chanting in an ancient tongue. The room darkened, the glow from their hands the only light. The alien girl gasped, her knees weakening. The human held her tightly, refusing to let go. He felt her fear run through him as if it was his own, her heartbeat echoing in his chest. "What's happening to us?" he whispered. Her glowing eyes filled with tears. "This is the test," she breathed. "If your heart rejects mine, I will be broken forever." The human's mind raced. He thought of all the moments, the strange questions, the nights she watched him sleep, the tears when he hugged her for the first time. He realized it was never about breeding alone. It was about something deeper. She had been denied all her life, belonging, choice, love. He lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his eyes. "I will not reject you," he said firmly. "Not now, not ever." The glow surged brighter, flooding the chamber with blinding light. The elders shielded their eyes, gasping in shock. The bond was not breaking, it was strengthening. The alien girl clung to him, her ears glowing like silver drops. "I understand now," she whispered, her voice trembling with awe. "Human breeding is not only body, it is heart, it is soul, it is choosing someone and never letting go." Her words carried weight, truth that even the council could not deny. The human pressed his forehead against hers. "You are more than a roommate," he said softly. "More than a dare, more than an experiment. You are mine, and I am yours." The glow spread around them like fire, wrapping them in warmth. The elders fell into silence, no longer shouting, no longer demanding punishment, for the bond had proven itself, unshakable and undeniable. The eldest elder's voice was quiet when he finally spoke. "The bond cannot be undone," he said bitterly. "You have tied yourself to a human, and by our law we cannot sever it." The chamber erupted in confusion, but the human did not care. He held her close, his arms wrapped around her shaking frame. The trial was over, their bond was real. As they walked out of the chamber, the alien girl leaned against him, her glowing eyes filled with joy and relief. "You gave me more than I ever dreamed," she whispered. "You gave me freedom, you gave me love, you gave me belonging." The human smiled, holding her tighter. "And you gave me something too," he said softly. "You showed me courage, you showed me what it means to fight for choice." That night, back in the small apartment where it all began, she curled up beside him, refusing to let go. Her voice was soft, almost a song. "Tonight was not the end," she whispered. "It was only the beginning." And as the stars outside burned bright against the dark, the human knew one thing with certainty. Their lives were forever changed, not by command, not by force, but by the first true bond between human and alien, a bond no law could ever break.